The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. The first thing I want to jump into actually is not going to be the Nasdaq today, but it's actually going to be ES. And I kind of covered this on Twitter, but let's go over what's really happening here. Okay, let's really attack where you're at and what's overall moving the market and ultimately where we're going to go over the next few days. So something I posted on Twitter was about getting over previous highs here around 57.81, 82, give or take, right? And then today and last night, this was really big. Okay, this is what you really wanted to see. Let's really break. People start panicking for like all the wrong reasons. Very interesting, but we'll see. Okay, so going into ES specifically, we talked about what we wanted to see: the break, and it's over and over, break, retest, continuation, right? We go into ES here, and I'm not gonna lie, today minimal trading, like very minimal. Had some quick scalp in, quick scalp out, things like that. But if you're trading today, you're probably gonna lose money because I don't believe the downside is where you're really confirmed right now, because there are a few things that are happening. This is the 4-hour time frame, okay? Number one, on S&P futures, you're clearly making higher lows. Number two, this was your previous all-time high right here, not from July, but most recently September 19th at basically 57.97. We still have some time left in the day, but what you really wanted to see here, as always, is the break, the retest, and then continuation. And so we really don't know how this candle is going to close, right? And you've seen the dips, but we just bounced back up. You bounced off of previous all-time highs from July back there. And so you're still looking okay, right? Now, Nasdaq is a little bit more, it's a little bit unclear. Okay, I'll go to Qs in a second, but again, you're holding over some previous highs where we kind of got stuck at yesterday. You're trying to hold over, 20,300, but we came into the level we mentioned yesterday as well. We had two levels, basically 20,500, then 20,600, and you came today right into 20,500, then rejected back down, okay? That's ultimately where we're at. Now, I think looking at Qs here will give you a better example in the Nasdaq, what you're really looking at. And it's a level that we've been mentioning as well, around 487 for locally, 487, 486, roughly this little zone here. And you can clearly see that you're holding, right? You had the wick down to 486 and you bounced, but you're really mounting that level of 487, right? And we've been talking a lot about this low level here, right? You can see you can actually grab this and go all the way down to 486 if you really want to. And really say this is all just going to be support down there, right? And so you're ultimately still flipping that. It doesn't look bad. Like, okay, this, we talked about it though. We did say you get above 486, 47, you're pushing into 493. There's no liquidity. I mean, you did just that. You gapped up to that point and then dropped back down. Because again, what do we know? In this area here, there's literally no liquidity in between 487, 493. So again, that's what I'm saying here. Going short, in my opinion, right now is not the play. If anything, I'm still looking at this from a longer term perspective of, man, you're mounting this level. The longs make sense and you want to push back up. And if we get back into 489, 490, you're going to go straight to 493 once again. So these are things that you're really wanting to look at. The other part of this is SMH. Okay, you had Micron earnings, and that's really carried us last night. Really got more steam and more buying power going into semis. We saw us, remember, it seems like just yesterday we were talking about 239 and mounting that level. Well, now we've gone from 239 into 256 and are hurting. And over 256, in my opinion, you're pushing into 271, them all-time highs, okay? So big levels that we're watching here, okay? Now, a step further, because we're seeing a little bit of a pullback today on some of these names. Like NVIDIA, we pushed into like 128, came back down to 123. We're still broken out, but we need to see the mount of 139 or 130. AMD, I'm praying to God for a dip to the 200 SMA. We haven't got it yet. Micron's pulling back a little bit. But in my opinion, semis were holding up very well. And then you had this bad news come out regarding SMCI. The US DOJ is probing Supermicro Computers, being a fraudulent company. They haven't filed their 10K, accounting manipulation, and the AI server market. Pretty detrimental news for that company. We've talked about how we believe they're a fraudulent company, but this is the gift that keeps on giving to the downside. So I think personally this thing's coming down to 360 and then maybe even 217 after 360 breaks. So we'll talk about that later. But ultimately, you're seeing selling occur in semis, in my opinion, kind of right when that took place. Personal opinion there. I still think semis look really good, and I still think overall Qs, the Nasdaq, still looks very good as well. Okay, so those are things that I'm really looking at. So broad market, what I want to see going into tomorrow for continuation, going long, etc. What do I want to see? Number one, today, end of the day, you want to see a hold above 57.97, and I think if you hold that level or look like you're going to hold that level, you look really good. The other part of this too, though, on top of this, and you want to hold also too, that 487 level here on Qs. Now, the only thing going into tomorrow that's dangerous here, right? Today you had some jobless claims. It wasn't that big, right? Not too big an impact. Some Fed speakers. Nothing crazy was said, came out, was super negative. Tomorrow, you have PCE data. You have two things tomorrow. PCE data, which is the Fed continues to say is the biggest overall metric for inflation. And then you have your Michigan outlook, okay? Michigan around 30 minutes after market open always has a little bit of an impact, so make sure you're paying attention to that. But PCE, bright and early, an hour before market open. I'd be paying very close attention to PCE data. Very close, okay? Because again, this comes out positive where inflation data is dropping. I think it bolsters us for more continuation of cuts to come in the near-term future as well. Okay, so those are things that I'm looking at. But again, if we hold those levels, I'm still very bullish, broad-based in the market. Now, we'll go into some more of these equities, what I'm looking for right now. Tesla, I told you yesterday, what we were looking for in Discord was a hold above 256. Well, you held 256, and you ended up gapping up today to like 261, pulled back, okay? Anyone asking me about Tesla, it's very simple what I'm looking at on Tesla, like very, very, very simple. No reason to overcomplicate it. As long as you're above your 200 weekly, I'm extremely bullish. As long as you're above 245, extremely bullish. So things I'm looking for right now, you have room at 265. And it's worth mentioning, guys, if you don't follow on Twitter, I don't know what to tell you. Like, because most of these things I have posted on Twitter way, way, way in advance, okay? Very, very far in advance, I was telling you guys about how you were going to be bullish on Tesla, where you had a mount, everything along those lines. So if you guys choose not to take advantage, like right here, okay, looking for a mount to 200 weekly, we could possibly see upside past 260 ahead of the Robotaxi event. 235 is a level amount, the 200 SMA. That was on September 14th. Fast forward now, you hit 260 this morning, okay? So again, that's not to say, I'm right, flex this and that, but it's just to show you that, a lot of this stuff is given to you guys for free as well. Also, too, if you guys are interested in joining the Discord, make sure you're following on Twitter. I'm probably going to announce those spots coming available either tonight or tomorrow. So make sure you're looking out for that. We're going to only open up a certain amount of spots, so make sure you take advantage while you can. Okay. And the link might be down below too. If the link is already open, you might be able to sign up as we speak, but just in case, follow on Twitter. Okay. Now, broad-based moving further. Still names I'm loving. Okay. Google. Okay. Very clear. There's two trades here. All you're looking at, people get so mad when I do this, but I love this. It's like just like when we traded Tesla. Above 164, you go long into 166. Below 161.5, 163.5, 161.35, I have you down to the 200 SMA. Okay, be watching that. Microsoft continuing to hold around 430. I like it as long as it holds 430, 429. I think it looks really good. Be looking at that name. Amazon, we saw some selling under 191.72. If you remount this level, I'm bullish back into 196. Apple, I'm not a huge fan here to be honest, but you're holding up really well. Like, worth mentioning, you see buying and then you see extreme selling and then you bounce off your key levels, 124. You're making higher lows, you still look good, right? So again, you look decent on Apple. I'm not looking to trade it though. Meta, probably my least, man, this was tough today. So I still think right now, even looking at the end of the day, I think it's a long opportunity even for a day trade as long as you're above 164. Now, this morning I tried and I really, really, really wanted to go long on this name. I was itching, right? I wanted to see a mount to this level. You got above and you broke right back down, right? I think Meta has room into $600. I've said that before. I'm standing by that. But I'm going to tell you right here, as long as you hold above 564, you look good. Under 564, you could go to 556, 553 in a hurry. There's not a lot of liquidity. So make sure you're tracking that as well. But above 564, you look great. You look hot. So Netflix, another good name here. You came back down to 701. I'm not looking to buy there. I'm looking to buy when you get back above 712, 711.8. Okay. Same trade as before. What I'm looking for there. SMCI, I think there's a high chance of continuation here. I post this on Twitter, and I'll say the same thing now. Below 383, I'd be hammering shorts, in my personal opinion. I'm going to let you know that right now. I think it's terrible. I think it's a straight fraudulent company. Maybe they announced some news there. I don't think so, though. It's my personal opinion, but keep on your radar. I think it's a terrible company, okay? Things I'd be watching right now. But again, favorite name right now, I'm praying to God. I kid you not. I'm praying to God for AMD to come back into 200 SMA, 162 give or take, for a buying opportunity. Micron as well. A lot of people ask about Micron with their earnings. I think Micron might have one of the cleanest setups that I'm going to leave you with here on the broad-based market. Potential double bottom, right? It does a double bottom, right? And then you want to see the break and mount above 111. If you break a mount above 111, you look amazing, guys. Like I don't think that I could draw this up too much better. I mean, you at least have room at 118, but I could see us pushing all the way back into the gap fill near 227. personally, my opinion, what I'd be looking at, Micron looks hot over 111. Now, you also have another opportunity here, but I think this is way riskier to let you know, is buying near the 200 SMA if that does happen, okay? How I would look at this, you would have to have some tight stops around, like 104, most likely, 103. It'd be hard to say. But you'd be targeting number one back into 111, and then ultimately targeting hopefully to get back above that level to push in that illiquidity back towards 118, 120. So how I look at it, again, do what you want. Micron still does look good. Micron reminds me a lot like of something like TSM, where we had that nice pattern. You broke above 175 and broke into those illiquid areas as well. So things I'm looking at there. But ultimately, not too much changes on my mind here today, guys. Even with the pullback, like I say this all the time. Like I get excited for these pullbacks when they happen, because ultimately, if you get them out of that level, it's the most bullish price action that you could be facing. Okay. It really is. Understand that, okay? Tomorrow, I'm going to have an interesting video coming out as well. I'm going to be going over some riskier assets as well tomorrow. And just to let you know, I just didn't want to go into that today. I have to get my son from school. I have to leave a little bit early, and I didn't want to edit the video or if I misspoke or anything. So, again, tomorrow will be an interesting video going over a specific sector that's been very hot, and I believe it's pretty risky, but has potentially the best upside, especially if we get more of a pullback. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. Maybe even post some of that on Twitter tonight. Have a good one, traders. I appreciate you. Again, if you're interested in our indicators, anything like that as well, the Lux Algo link is down below for these are our scalping indicators that we use, just to let you know. But all those links are down below, so you can check those out. Have a good one, traders. I'll see you tomorrow.